solving proportion word problems. There are some steps that we need to follow. Step 1, we want to look for the given ratio. There's going to be a ratio in the word problem that's given to you. Miles per 1 hour, $3 for every euro, 2 cans cost $7. Some sort of ratio that's going to be given to you. Step 2, we write the given ratio using the units. Cans of peas per $1. So you're going to have cans and dollars. $4 for every euro. Dollars, euros. So you're going to be looking for and using the units when we write the ratio. Step 3 is to set up your proportion. Remember, proportion is 2 ratios set equal to each other. So whatever units, when you write your given ratio, whatever units you put on the top, when you write the second ratio, those units have to be on the top. Okay. We're now getting into the point where we're working problems that you just can't write an answer. That's not good enough. If you can look at a word problem and instantly write down an answer, you're in the wrong place. Wrong place. These require that you do and show some work. Okay, so this is what we're going to be working on. We have some word problems. I'm going to actually write the word problem. So our first example, if you can buy 1 can of pineapple chunks for $2, then how many can you buy with or for $10? So you can buy 1 can of pineapple chunks for $2. How many can we buy for $10? Okay, so yes, you may be able to look at that and tell, but we need to know the process that's involved. Okay, the process. So the first thing we do is we look for our given ratio. They're telling us 1 can for $2. So I'm going to write 1 can over $2. That means that when I set up my proportion, this second ratio, I have to put cans over dollars. If I don't, then the proportion is not going to be set up correctly, and I'm not going to get the correct answer. So that's our given ratio, 1 can for $2. Then our second ratio is what we're looking for. How many can you buy for $10? Well, that means my money down here is 10, and we're trying to find out how many cans can we buy for $10. So instead of writing that question mark, we're going to put an X. So my given ratio is set up as cans over dollars. My new ratio, when I set up my proportion, I have to have cans over dollars. So that's why you need to write the units so that you write the units over here and get them set up correctly. Now I can solve the proportion. Cross multiply, 2 times x is 2x. 1 times 10 is 10. We're trying to get x by itself, so we divide by whatever it is we're multiplying by, whatever that number is in front of the x. The 2's out, leaving us with x, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, our second one. 1 jar of crushed ginger costs $2. How many jars can you buy for $4? Okay. Again, you might be able to just look at that and tell what the answer is, but we're starting off with simple ones. It's going to get more complicated. So you've got to learn the process. So the first thing we do is we look for what is the given ratio. Well, it tells us we get 1 jar for $2. So I'm going to write 1 jar over $2. We want to know how many jars can you buy for $4. So when I set up my proportion, my second ratio has to be jars over dollars. We're trying to find out how many jars. So that's going to be our X, and we want to pay $4. We're buying for $4. So now we cross multiply. 2 times x is 2x. 1 times 4 is 4. Whatever we're multiplying by the x, we divide it by that number. Do the same thing on the other side. 2's divide out. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And really, because we have word problems, we should make sure that we're answering the question by writing the answer as a sentence. So this really should be, okay, so we should be writing, you can buy 2 jars. Over here we should be saying, you can buy 5 cans. All right, next example. 1 cantaloupe One cantaloupe costs $2. How many cantaloupes can you buy for $6? Okay. Again, these first ones are going to be a little more obvious. We're learning the process. So step one is to find our given ratio. One cantaloupe costs $2. So I'm going to write one CANT for cantaloupe, $2. That means our second ratio for our proportion has to be cantaloupes over dollars. It's asking how many cantaloupes. So that's X. Can we buy for $6? Cross multiply. 2 times X is 2X. 1 times 6 is 6. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. The 2's divide out. We get 3. The answer to the question is we can buy 3 cantaloupes. Next question. One package of blueberries costs $3. How many packages can you buy for $9? Okay, you do this one and tell me what you get. All right, our given ratio, one package, $3. So I'm going to write one package, $3. That means our new ratio to set up our proportion has to have packages over dollars. It's asking how many packages, which would be X, can we buy for $9? Cross multiply. 3 times X is 3X. 1 times 9 is 9. Divide this side by 3. Divide this side by 3. The 3's divide out. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we should write you can buy 3 packages. Always need to make sure that we are answering the question. Answering the question. Okay. The next example that we're going to work says you can buy 4 bulbs of elephant garlic for $8. How many bulbs can you buy with $32? So this one has a little bit different given ratio. So our given ratio this time is 4 bulbs, $8. 4 bulbs is $8. So I have to write bulbs over dollars for my second ratio. It's asking how many bulbs, so this is X, can you buy for $32? So cross multiply, 8 times X is 8X. And we're going to multiply 4 times 32. 4 times 32 is 128. Then we divide this side by 8, whatever it is we're multiplying by. If you do that on the left, you have to do that on the right. The 8's divide out, we get X. And 128 divided by 8 is 16. The answer to the question is you can buy 16 bulbs. You need to always make sure that you are answering the question. Right now, the question is whatever you get for X. It's not always going to be that way. You may have to use what they give you in X in order to solve the problem and answer the question in a slightly different way. Okay. All right. We're not going to do all of this, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. We're going to work a couple of the problems off of here. All right. So for us on here, number 6 says a recipe that serves 8 people calls for 2 cups of milk. How many cups of milk will be needed for 36 servings? Okay, very practical problems here, because if you cook, then you probably do this quite a bit. And you probably didn't realize that that's what you were doing. Okay, so step 1 is find our given ratio. It says a recipe that serves 8 people calls for 2 cups. 8 people, 2 cups. There's our given ratio. 8 people, over 2 cups. That means that my second ratio for my proportion has to be people over cups. The question is asking how many cups, so that means my X goes down here with cups, would be needed for 36 people, 36 servings. Okay, we also could have said here 8 servings over 2 cups. Okay, so now we cross multiply. 8 times X is 8X. 36 times 2 is 72. Divide by 8. Divide by 8. And 72 divided by 8 gives us 9. So the answer to the question is we need 9 cups of milk. Okay. All right, our next example. A person uses about 315 calories to jog 3 miles. How many calories will be used in a 10-mile jog? So now we're getting to ones that's not so obvious. The answer is not just sitting right there and so obvious. So we start by finding our given ratio. The person uses 315 calories for 3 miles. There's our given ratio. 315 calories, 3 miles. You need to write down your given ratio with the units. You then set it equal to your second ratio with the units, calories per mile, and then plug in the values. It's asking how many calories, so our X goes here, will be used for a 10-mile jog. Cross multiply. 3 times X is 3X. 315 times 10, it's 3,150. Divide by 3, divide by 3, we get 3150 divided by 3 is 1,050. So the answer to the question is you would use 1,050 calories. That's what answers the question. Okay. All right. Okay. This next one. An architect is planning a city parking lot. For every 12 commuters the parking lot will need 5 parking spaces. How many parking spaces will be needed for 132 commuters? First thing we do is find our given ratio. It tells us 12 commuters, 5 parking spaces. So you've got to find inside of that word problem, what is the given ratio? 12 commuters, we need 5 parking spaces. So I'm going to write 12 commuters, COM, 5 parking spaces. That means my new ratio that I'm setting equal to the given ratio must have commuters at the top, parking spaces at the bottom. It's asking how many parking spaces. So our X goes here, will be needed for 132 commuters. Now we cross multiply, solve the proportion. 12x equals 5 times 132. We get 264. Then divide by 12, divide by 12. 12s divide out. 264 divided by 12 is 22. So the answer to the question is we would need 22 parking spaces.
If you liked this video, please click the thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please click the subscribe button. If you want to be notified about new videos, please click the notification button.